I was managing a band that sounded like Simple Minds, and I took them around every record company I could get into, and everyone turned them down. And I realised now, many years later, that much as I liked them, it's because they were like Simple Minds. There already was a Simple Minds, so what was the point? And so it was learning how the creative process works and what people are looking for, and how the cultural dynamic moves forward. No, and I think the reason for that is a bit like Elvis Presley said. Elvis Presley said, I have no need of highly trained bodyguards, I do have a need of 2 highly trained accountants. And as soon as you start to make money, then you need somebody to be able to tell you what happens. I think that's so, from the very beginning you need somebody to advise you. Not necessarily at an intense level, but you do need somebody. At Factory, we own the Hacienda, and we had a gun incident, and the problem was what to do about the gun incident, because in Manchester at the time there were more than one gang. It wasn't like the craze ran the whole thing. There were several gangs. So which one did we pay off in order to keep the club open? We had a big meeting of New Order, all the management from the Hacienda and ourselves from Factory. And somebody suggested that what we ought to do, because at the Hacienda you had to go downstairs to the basement where the changing room was for the stage, that we'd invite the 2 major gangs, get them downstairs for a coke party, get them coked out of their heads, then we'd torch the place with them in it. And we'd get the insurance and get rid of the gangs. And there was some serious discussion about this, and I was dead worried because I kept saying to the finance director, this is a conspiracy to commit murder. And he kept saying, shh. I said, no, it's a conspiracy to murder. And well, eventually they decided not to do it. And the reason they decided not to do it was because in order to get down to the basement, you either had to go the steps or the lift. And clearly the lift was the premier way of going down. And whichever gang you put in first, you were dissing the other gang. So that's why we didn't torch the whole place with the gangs in it. Oh yeah, this is one of the first, this is not the actual vinyl album, this is one of the first albums I ever brought. And it's the original album with the peel-off sticker. It didn't sell very well when it first came out. It's influenced just so many bands. Even now when I play it, it's still fresh. And one of the great secrets of this is it sounds very simple. But what they did is they changed the tunings on their instruments. So what sounds simple is in a different, not your normal tuning, so a lot of people can't work out how to do it. And of course you've got people like John Cale. John Cale trained as a classical celloist. He then went to America under a scholarship, abandoned classical music and became a member of the Velvet Underground. And as I say, it's influenced so many people. It's a bit like, if you're in a rock band, there's 2 things you've got to have done. One is you've got to have seen Spinal Tap, and the other one is you've got to have heard this. At the moment I've been told to go and see Black Peaks. I've heard some of their stuff on the YouTube, and I think that's the band I'd really like to see. Absolutely. Look, not long ago in the past people were saying it's all doom and gloom, it's the end of the world, kids are playing with them. But you know, there's 3 things in life that are universal: hatches, matches and dispatches, births, marriages and deaths. They're all accompanied by 2 things. One is food and one is music. Music will always be there. Right, this is the last time that the Mondays actually played live as a full band, apart from recent reunions. We didn't know it was the last time at that stage. We were in Sheffield, and for whatever reason the band had decided to stay overnight in Sheffield at a hotel and not go back to Manchester, which was only half hour away. And we all got on the tour bus to go to the hotel, and I was great friends with Mark Day, the guitarist. And we got off the bus first, followed by Paul Davies, the keyboard player. And I think everyone was alcoholically or chemically challenged. And you walk towards the hotel and the doors, you know, they were the automatic glass doors, they go like that, and it's sort of slightly science fiction. And we walked in, and I swear, an alien walked past me. And then another one. And your heart does that, and Jesus Christ, it's an alien, they fucking landed. What am I, and you think, you know, and I turned to look at Mark, and his face was a bead of sweat on his forehead. He'd seen these aliens as well. And all sorts of thoughts go through your head so quickly. You know, if only I wasn't chemically challenged, perhaps I could fight my way out of this or something. And my eyes continued round to the right to where reception was, and there it had on a big emblazoned banner, "Welcome Star Trek Convention 2000," or whatever it was. Nearly gave up drugs and alcohol then, but not quite. I've got 3 actually. One is I was on tour with Stevie Wonder, and he had a break midway, and he went off, and Edwin Starr was in the audience, and they brought him because they knew each other. Then when they went back on stage, Stevie was playing stuff, and the band were waiting for him to give the number, and he started playing, and the band started joining in because they realised what he was playing, and he was playing War Was What Is It Good For? Absolutely nothing, and he'd never rehearsed it. And it was just fabulous to be there and see Edwin sing, extemporising, and so that was a fantastic moment. The second fantastic moment was that I did part of the Miles Davis tour in the UK, and every night I'd walk to the side of the stage. I'd be from here to where you are almost. Miles Davis would be on stage, and I'd be paid for it. And it wasn't the same every night. And it was just fantastic. He was phenomenal. And the third one is I work with a firm called Prager Mentis, and we act for one of the world's biggest live bands. And for a reason I put to one side in a moment, I had to meet Malcolm Young from AC/DC. And that was fabulous, because here's this man who's undoubtedly a star in his own life, a legend in his own lifetime, and he was so humble, easygoing, inviting, opening, and I just thought to myself, it's great to work with a firm that works with people like that, because they become friends rather than just clients. And that to me has been the three highlights is Stevie Wonder, Miles Davis, and the clients I work with now, who most of them are friends, people like Ian Brody, fantastic writer, Chris Sharrett, the drummer from BDI and Oasis. That's fantastic. What more is there left to do apart from cross the Atlantic on foot?